Most 22-year-olds are busy figuring out what to do next. This man whom we've interviewed got it all figured in his pre-teens. Kanthi Dutt is a 22-year-old entrepreneur who's never shied away from taking a stand for things that matter to him. Here's an interview with the co-founder of Sustainkart, India's first e-commerce marketplace for sustainable consumers. And that's not it. He's also the author of the book Rediscovering Path to Success.
Hi, Mr. Kanthi Dutt. Welcome
Hi.
to Sakshi Post. So tell us about your journey. How did you start off?
So my journey goes back to my school days. So I started out when I was in my 7th grade. I was that very different child. I should call myself abnormal if I can. When I was in school, I used to talk a lot about business ideas and how we could make money, while the rest of them talked about how you could spend money. So that made a lot of difference in how I had my peers treat me, because I was the odd one out. It started off as a challenge because I was always told that I was in fact bullied for my way of thinking or speaking when I was in school. So I took it up as a challenge on me, and I had a few friends who were always very supportive. We all enabled a dance drama show and performed at a local auditorium. This took off very well. Back then, 2012, we made 13,000 rupees as profit out of this project. Thereafter, I started, reaching out to few of local business owners who I know of, or my family had connections with, and I was welcomed to partner with them for their marketing activities and stuff like that. That's how we coined our marketing and event production firm, Spartans Media, which I was associated with until very recently, over 9 years, if I must say. The journey was tedious and a roller coaster ride, if I must say, but it was always about challenges for me. If someone challenges me about my ability to execute something or excel in something, then I think you're doing the best thing for me. I will ensure I'm doing it the best way, and it will be loud and clear for everybody around that it's a huge big thing. So that's how my journey has begun.
So, but when you look back, like in hindsight, is there any point of time in your life where you think that, no, I should have just taken the normal path that people took and I should have enjoyed my college life? Do you miss all those things that students get to enjoy?
See, for me, this is normal. Who defines what is normalcy? For me, I defined it, okay? So for me, this is very normal, and I don't know what I've missed on. So if you ask me about college days, I completely stopped schooling after my 10th grade, but from my 7th to 10th grade, I was sort of dropping my attendance levels from, say, 100%, a fully going first bencher who my teachers always loved, to that of attending for 20-30% of school in my 10th grade. So after my 10th standard, I'm not sure why a lot of my school friends or batchmates never intended to keep in touch with me. But I never had friends from school, or any of them of my age, if I must say. My friends are all over 40, 45, and what we regularly speak about is business, right? We speak about ideas. So this is normal for me. Unless you come and tell me, see, listen, Kanthi, this is how your life should have been if you were in college. Until you hit me on that chord, I wouldn't know what it should have been otherwise. So I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and I always believe in intuitionally doing things that come across in your journey, in your path of life. So I never regret, but when I'm having a very tedious, stressful day, then it definitely makes a difference. Not always, but quite sometimes, I always think if a 9 to 5 job should have been less stressful or demanding on my emotional strength or physical strength than what a business or entrepreneurship demands from me. But again, having said that, this is a very rare case when I have my own share of emotional imbalances. I'm not definitely gifted with very not so vulnerable state of mind, because all of us have our own shares of ups and downs. But otherwise, I definitely don't regret on my choices.
So in those rarest of times, so how do you unwind and how do you console yourself?
I think it's very, very short-term thought, even if I hit that thought. But I don't think it stays in me for a very long time. I don't work towards changing that. It doesn't stay in me. Because if I look back 10 years of my life, I have only known of work, work and work. Even if you ask anyone who knows me around, they should have never spotted me in a cafe or a restaurant. So I have been a workaholic all my recent or the most part of my life, even after knowing what I'm doing. Because early 10 years or 12 years, you wouldn't know what is even happening with your life. Since I gained consciousness of what life is all about, then since then I have only been working. So my normal is that, and I can quickly snap at these kind of very interim thoughts. They don't stay in me at all. And I think my team helps me out. My partners help me a lot when it comes to snapping out of, very vulnerable or emotionally downline situations. Because when they come back to me with a list of things that we need to address, it's the need of the hour, it's the demand of work.
Yeah.
So you can't, sink in with the negatives that you have in your mind. You have to snap at them. So I think it's a very natural process in me to snap at these kind of situations.
Okay, so of the 24 hours, if you are thinking about work all the time, what is the fun element in your life?
My work is my fun element. I don't understand why people don't consider work as leisure. I work with my full interest and passion.
Yeah.
And I think at my workplace, I ensure that all of us have some fun time. And we do gossip about people, we do gossip about things around us. And I think that keeps us sane,
Yeah, right.
Especially in the past 2 years, after Shilpa Reddy and I launched Sustainkart together. One thing is also always a constant in our work life is sustaining peace of mind and health as well. Not just of ours, but also of our teams and employees around us. So we don't do the typical stressful 9 to 5. In fact, no startup works 9 to 5, it's 9 to 9. We don't do that, but even if we do that, I think there is so much fun element that we include as a part of our work life, and that sort of balances out our tedious part of work that we have to address on a day-to-day basis.
But people at your age must be hitting pubs or, playing a sport or listening to music. So what's your unwinding?
I love music. Even sometimes in my cabin, there is some song playing out from my mobile. Listening to a song or a music album always, helps me regenerate from any kind of situation. So music is my constant go-to, has always been my constant go-to for relaxation. And I work out sometimes on and off, but I like to keep myself physically fit. So I might not have the time to play a sport. Never been a crazy fan of a sport. I don't watch sports either, so
Wow.
my sport friends might hate me, but I don't watch any sport. But I do work out to keep myself fit. That's all that matters to me. Clubbing and other forms of entertainment, I think I have tasted all of that, and it doesn't fascinate me as much as it might fascinate someone else in the same room. But if I'm demanded to be a part of a party, I would still be okay. It's not that I'm against that, but I'm not a party goer myself. And again, we do party at our office. Like, we have our own definition to party. So we do ensure, even in our work premises, that we take our leisure, and I think that leisure is something that I define for myself as well. So I don't miss out on the typical clubbing part of life.
Okay, so there's no missing out.
Definitely not.
Okay.
I will not let anybody also point out and tell me that, listen dude, this is what you're missing on. Definitely not. Because I compensate stuff in my own ways, and I think you defining stuff for yourself is very important. In fact, that's very strong belief that I have in me about career choices as well. Who defines your choices, and what is right for you, and what is right for you and when. You know, it has changed very hugely in the past decade. But when I started out, this is a decade ago, definitely parents had a more conventional way of guiding the children to choose the very famous engineering and medicine as the courses that they should choose after their schooling. But I think that has changed a lot in the past 10 years. A lot of them I see choose business administration as one of the leading courses for career choice. Again, arts are again something that people choose today, more than compared to what how comfortable people were choosing them, or how comfortable parents were letting their kids choose arts or other forms of sciences. But I think I believe in how the little nuances in life help you steer your life positively, and not the big degrees that help you make a career out of. So my leisure, from clubbing to partying to any kind of film, watching films, movies, anything happens in my way. I define how I should do it. So I'm a very private person. I never post about my personal life, my family, my parents, anywhere. So I keep my family very private, and I have my private friends who I hang out with in my own closed room. So yeah.
Okay, so how did your family react when you said, look, I don't want to pursue any higher education, I just want to get into this?
So they were initially not okay, definitely. My family completely believes in the conventional way of career path or growth, choosing to study. I have an elder brother who has chosen the very conventional way, but happy for him. So I was also, asked or suggested to, choose the typical. I was sent to this IIT coaching center when I was in my 7th grade, and in my 8th as well, I did attend a few classes because I had this pressure from parents. But in my later grades of 9th, 10th, and the later years post that as well, I think my parents made peace with the fact that I have enough clarity in what I wanted to do in life. Not made peace with the stubbornness, that's not what I'm trying to say, but they were sure that I was clear of what I wanted to do. And even early in my career, I think my success did speak for itself. Money was coming in. So for parents to be comfortable with what their children want to do is all about financial stability.
Right.
Because anything that they suggest, again, I'm not against parents who are trying to parent their kids to choose the conventional path, because unconventional path comes with it's a very hilly road, if I must say. It's a very rigid road. It's going to be a roller coaster ride, and when compared to the conventional way of choosing to do things, it's definitely more comforting on your skin and mind as well. So I completely understand where parents come from, but at the end of the day, what our parents want from us is our financial stability, peace and happiness.
Yeah.
So if that's something that can prove your choices to be good for yourself, then I think no parent will negate with it, and that's the same thing that happened with me. It took them 3-4 years to come to terms with how it could shape out, my career could shape out financially, as well as what kind of clarity do I have, what was the thought of doing business or choosing entrepreneurship as my career just a passing cloud, right? So they took their time, I took my time as well. I did not tell them in my 7th grade that I want to stop studying. I started by saying that I want to do something sideways as a side hustle, and I only told them that I want to completely drop out of school in my 9th grade, but that got extended until my 11th. But it is a very gradual, peaceful journey. We never had fights at home saying, no, you must study. I was never like, no, I will not. So that was never a situation at home.
And there was no, those constant comparisons between siblings, that was also not happening?
Never.
Okay,
never.
You're lucky.
And I think my parents totally understand that comparative analysis is something that's very bad with kids. Comparing between two siblings or comparing between you and your friend or you and your cousin or someone is also quite unhealthy, and I think my parents never did that with us, neither with me nor my brother. There are things that I can do better than what or how my brother could do, but I don't think he was never compared about things like that. Right from the kind of assets we built to that of how we cook. So everything is different. So there was never a comparative analysis. An extension to this is also that, my father always wanted to give in his groups. And my father is a 9th child in the family. So he was not having the leverage to choose his own career, because when he was making his decision to choose what to do in his intermediate, one of his sisters was getting married. The parents were focused on the sister. Then when he wanted to choose undergrad, again another sister was getting married, and maybe at a later time another sister was giving a baby. So at different important decision making stages of his life, he always had his parents choosing to give more of their time and priority to another sibling of his. So and his thought process was never supported by his parents. So I think that is something that he never wanted to do with us. I must say I had a lot of uncles, aunts who tried influencing my parents to convince me to not continue doing business and maybe cut back to books and education. There were also a lot of them who stopped talking to my parents because they didn't listen to them.
Oh.
And even today, I think a lot of my friends or cousins are not in touch with me as much they are in touch with my brother. I don't know why. I don't know if I intrigue them. I don't know if they hate me for growing, but that's the fact. People never had a strong positive impact on my parents, but this withstood the kind of notion that people around them had, but they never let me get influenced, or they never even let them get influenced with what the peers around them were saying.
That's nice.
I am blessed, if I must say.
Yeah. So what was your inspiration to adopt sustainable practices? When did you really think that, yes, this is the time?
My inspiration, honestly, is just one person, Shilpa Reddy, who is also my co-founder at Sustainkart. I've known her for over 7-8 years now. Met at several social occasions, if I must say, art exhibitions, concerts, etc. And we personally met during the pandemic. And she has always known me as a content person. I've been in the entertainment and marketing industries for a very good number of years. And I've known Shilpa as someone who always spoke about social impact, subjects that are relating to societal goodness and growth. So even when I was in marketing and events as a business, the kind of projects that we did were Shreya Ghoshal, Sanam, A.R. Rahman, Ilayaraja, Lydian Nadaswaram. He's world's best, CBS world's best, world's youngest pianist. So the kind of concepts that also intrigue me are not the typical commercial pop music, rock music. So that sort of helped me align with the conscious mindset that Shilpa always had. And we partnered to launch our social enterprise / media enterprise, the Sustainable Living show that we air on YouTube. And the concept of this show is to bring in exposure to the audience about how even simple changes like using a bamboo toothbrush or using a copper bottle could steer your lifestyle more positively towards a sustainable way of living, and how that could steer or that could make an impact on subjects like climate change and environmental consciousness. So we started off with the show, and that took off very well. People started asking us in the comments about how we could suggest them or where they could buy a product that was indirectly suggested on the show.
Yeah.
That's when we started looking out for products on mainstream marketplaces, the leading marketplaces, and we realized that it's not an easy transition for consumers from the commercial lifestyle to a conscious way of living, because you have to go through hundreds of pages to find a conscious product from the mainstream marketplaces. And the extension of the problem that we identified was these platforms don't validate the authenticity claims that the brands make about the parameters that mean sustainability for brands or products, like say chemical free, organic, natural, green, clean, biodegradable, etc. Then when I started working with Shilpa Reddy, I saw how she valued little things. Now if she attends a meeting at someone's office, she will not pick a water bottle made out of plastic, even if they place it next to her. You know, when we do roundtable meetings, we always have a water bottle placed next to us. She never picks it up. She might stay, thirsty, but she will never pick it up. So these kind of conscious actions of hers intrigue me. And then it's the right time of pandemic and COVID, and in general also for a lot of us, pandemic made us think about subjects like climate change and environmental consciousness, because there was news about how less of vehicle pollution from vehicles in Delhi reduced pollution to 25%.
Yeah.
When compared to the average pollution that is recorded by the Pollution Board of Delhi. So these kind of things, I think, very naturally intrigue me. And even at home, we always had plants at home. My mom always used to store the reusable cloth bags and stuff like that. But all these kind of things added up during the pandemic, and some sort of deep thinking happened. I also happened to pen a book called The Rediscovering Path to Success, where I wrote about how people should pause and rethink. And that's not just about career choices, that could also be about these kind of things that, should or deserve to your attention, right? So it sort of has again naturally come together to make me gradually move towards sustainability as a choice. Today I wear a cotton shirt, but that's something that I might not have been very positive about few years ago, because I'm again one of those people who believe that a synthetic looking sheen shirt will show the class of the garment that you're wearing, but that's not it. It took me time to realize that the quality of life is not defined by a shirt you wear, but it's important to understand that your quality of life is defined by your quality of thought. So I started to even think about little things. I don't use anything leather. I don't use anything that's synthetic today. I always carry my steel bottle. Even if I don't carry my bottle, my substaff helps me with a glass of water with a glass jar or a glass. But these kind of simple changes, I think, also added up to my peace in some way, because all of us still continue polluting in some or the other way. You can't expect me to suddenly sell off all my cars and buy an electric vehicle. It will take some time.
Yes.
Not everybody can do everything. That's again something I always believed in. The changes which we could make, we should make, because it will cumulatively add up to control climate change. I am someone who again completely believes that it's high time we act upon what we are leaving behind for the generations to come, and also for ourselves in the next 5, 10, 15 years. And the advancement is happening at a pace that we have never seen before. Urbanization, or you call it technology, the kind of growth is very rapid. And when it's you have to compensate to what is happening around you. And if that is something that you can do in your simple day-to-day consumerables that you can change, then I think that's the first change that you should make. In fact, me and Shilpa, or as a team or board at Sustainkart, our goal is to launch several brands which could replace the mainstream companies. Not naming anything, because I don't want to endorse any brand that we are also launching, because the goal is to sell a product that has certain conscious impact. Brand doesn't matter. The kind of hype that's created around brand names doesn't matter. Hype should be around the ingredients, hype should be around the impact of the product and the performance. So that change in e-commerce and D2C brands is something that we are trying to do right now.
But if you're talking of sustainable products, anything that is organic and sustainable kind of, it's on the higher price. The pricing is like really not affordable. So how do you think?
This kind of thought process is, I must say, a mind block. It's a myth. It's not the fact. On our website, we have a 50-gram lip balm that is flat 100 rupees. We have a 50-gram lip balm that is 500 bucks. That's the same to any commercial product. I can also add a line here which means that sustainability is, see, it could come at a cost, say 10%, 20% higher, but it's not a uber expensive product, or it's not a luxury good or a commodity. That's definitely a myth. And what I also believe in is the price points for a product or any market segment is always an egg and hen situation.
Yeah.
The more the consumers, the more the brands, the competitive the price would be, more competitive the price would be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, should I give you a product at a more price competitive, price sensitive margin, or will you start consuming my product more so that I can, reduce my profit margin and my operational cost will be less, because fixed cost of operations against 100 products sold versus 1000 products sold, there will be huge difference, right? So practically there is a egg and hen situation. But on the other hand, it's definitely a myth that sustainability is for the affluent lot. That's unfair. The third thing is to break that myth. What we are doing at our e-commerce platform is, when you bring 1000 brands to one place or more, you are creating a competition amongst themselves.
Yeah.
When there is competition, brands always want to discount their pricing and acquire customers, right? In fact, the reason for why we could quickly raise investments from the venture capital market is because of this USP, wherein we are enabling competition, which indirectly means that the consumer is benefiting by the price points.
Yeah.
Because the brands want to acquire the customer by giving discounts. So that's, I think, the way to go. There is also another myth around sustainability, that it's not cool. I look great, if I can call for it myself, even if I'm wearing a cotton shirt or a synthetic sheen material shirt. It doesn't matter. Another belief that I have, and also research-based belief, if an artificially made product with artificially made ingredients in a chemical lab is, say, 100 rupees, a product that's made using natural ingredients should be cheaper. You take this, you crush it, bring an oil out of it and pack it and sell. This should be cheaper than putting 10 chemicals together to give the same kind of a product, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It should be cheaper. It's not cheaper because the consumption is less. It will become cheaper when the consumption increases. So today our goal is to change the spending pattern of Indians towards more, sustainable products. Eventually the price points will drop down. So that's the long-term goal, and that's my research-based belief as well.
So do you think there's lack of awareness? There should be more awareness on this.
See, until 1 year ago, there is no e-commerce website for people to even realize there are lakhs of products for you to choose from. Awareness comes from, see, I'm happy even if I don't make money today, but today I'm so confident that I'm the largest discovery platform. People discover about sustainability and the lakhs of number of options that people have to choose from because of my platform, right? So discovery is a big challenge, and that has been a challenge for the past number of years, because there has not been anybody whoever told people that, listen guys, there are like lakhs of products for you to choose from. So awareness is the huge concern, and I think we are bridging that gap. And today a lot of other e-commerce platforms that have launched in this space are helping audience in building awareness around consumers about sustainable products that are available in the market. And we don't find any of these people as competition, because we are a community. Sustainability needs to now grow as a community, otherwise what's there in store for us tomorrow is only that people can imagine basis what they have gone through because of the pandemic.
So what is the market share of all the companies contributing to the sustainable economy?
It is a 7% market share. This is a study by Toluna Consumer Intelligence Organization, number 1 in the world. 7% of Indian e-commerce is for sustainable, clean, green products and brands. The market is a $40 billion market now, and 6% of $40 billion is no less. It's like $3 billion. $3 billion is going to sum up to 25,000 crores, right? This is expected to grow up to 25% of market share by 2026, which means that the e-commerce market in India is valued to be at $200 billion. If 25% of the $200 billion market is the share for sustainable brands and products, it's a fair market of $50 billion. So that's the $50 billion market that we are trying to capture and play as a largest market shareholder in the $50 billion market.
Okay. And so when you started this off, you may have had a lot of ideas. What do you think is very critical to sustain that ideas and translate them into reality?
The most critical part of business or entrepreneurship is team. Everybody has ideas. In fact, all of us have ideas. And the best excelled companies or the companies with the best growth always have a hardworking team and smart team. You always need to have a balance between hardworking resources and smart resources.
Yeah.
This might sound a little wrong on camera, but I don't mind saying this out loud, because you always need balance between strategic contributors who give smart ideas and hardworking executioners who execute this idea, right? It is never a one-man game. In fact, even today when Shilpa and I sit and discuss, the one constant subject that is always on our discussion list is team, right? That's the bridging gap for us between being able to execute an idea and just having an idea. Touchwood, we have been able to bring quality, smart, hardworking resources to the team. As a company, we also have a 10% stock reserve, equity reserve for employees. So it's called as ESOPs, ESOPs. So we incentivize our teams to be able to have continued interest in the brand and brand's growth. Retainership is again a very big challenge. And that's something that we invest a lot of our time into, to be able to ensure that the idea is rightly executed. So it's all about team, if I must say. And of course, consistency in your ideas.
Yeah.
Today I can't say that I want to build this and tomorrow I can't change that.
True.
Again,
Yeah.
you should be practical. You should change your path and goals when there is a threshold met. You can't keep trying the same idea if it's not working out.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
But you should have a good level of threshold. And if it demands you to keep pushing the threshold a little by little every time that you are exhausted, I think you should keep trying. But again, you should change your business goals and business path if the threshold is very strong, right? If you cross your strong threshold.
So what are the challenges you faced when you started all this?
Initial challenges include not being able to have the right kind of board members, advisors or team to be able to brainstorm with. So after human capital, like advisors, team, the second challenge for us has been about acceptance of sustainable products in the market. So there was no deep study about the market size, the competition. So people also did not have enough confidence in how this could scale up. So it took some time for us to even understand how public will react to it. So for the first 3 months of launch, we were very skeptical of how the acceptance could be. But then, basis the number of orders we received and how people perceived the idea, we were in full confidence of what we have gotten into. The third challenge for us is that we are not the typical sustainable activists who understand the good and bad of it. We are believers of sustainability and have a little lifestyle that is sustainable. Again, not complete sustainable lifestyle. We are also learning, changing and trying to make changes. Neither we come from e-commerce or tech background. So it's like there is so much unlearning and learning that had to happen. Because Shilpa has been in fashion business for over 12 years. I've been in entertainment. These are like two highly polluting industries for sustainability. And for 3-4 years prior to Sustainkart, I think Shilpa did make changes at her couture to bring in natural fabrics and not completely use synthetic garments. Having said that, again, e-commerce and tech is a completely different business and we had to change a lot of things in here. That is actually one of the major challenges, though I termed it as the third challenge. It's one of the major challenges for us. And the fourth challenge, if I must say, is a little extension to the acceptance of people around us. When we started out, we didn't understand how startup culture works. We have been in legacy businesses, never really had investors in the business, never knew how to bring in an investor. See, we also make financial projections for our business, but the format of making financial model for an investor analysis is completely different.
Yeah.
So the challenges to bring in money was how to tune the model to make it investor friendly, venture capital friendly was the major challenge again. And if you ask me, why do you need money? See, we could bring huge number of elements to the business, from expertise to interest to capital also, financial capital also. But if you want to make a larger impact, you need to put in larger sum of money, and all of us have limited liquidity in place, right? So bringing in more money from more people and the brains behind this money. Today we have investors who have invested in impact businesses. We don't have investors who have invested in commercial entities. So the kind of thought process that these investors who, practically sit on our board chairs, that kind of thought process also is something that we wanted to add to the, board decision making capacity and exposure, of course. So business is again all about challenges. I can go on and on, many more challenges, but I think these stand as the primary challenges that we had to face.
So talking about financial projections, when you actually project it to the investors, how flexible are they if you are not able to really meet that target? Like you have some projections, like, look, this is what our financial plan looks like, and this year we're going to achieve this. Are they flexible and they're also in sync with, you have that matching wavelength?
See, investors at the end of the day are humans. They understand that how much ever effort you put into a venture, sometimes there is a possibility of it going downhill. That is because of market acceptance. And that is why we do a market analysis and market study. Now, the downhill or downtrend to a business is always anticipated. The money that investors invest is called risk capital, right? So they understand it is risk-based capital investment. Having said that, nobody will spare you for your negligence, reduced interest over a period of time, reduced amount of, or maybe expanding your business interests and peeping into multiple ventures, which means that your interest is getting deviated. So these kind of mistakes and negligence, no investor tolerates. Even if I invest in a company, I've invested in several startups. Even if I invest, I don't think I will tolerate misbehavior or negligence. But having said that, there are always two sides to a coin. You should be mentally prepared to accept what's coming, good or bad. And I think it's only fair to not blame a founder for the downtrend. If you can see the downtrend, you immediately sit with the founder and make him or help him make changes. But blaming the founder after 5 years, when you realize the business has not excelled, it doesn't make sense. And I think investors are smart enough to know that.
So what happened during the pandemic? Did it have any effect on your businesses?
See, during the pandemic, there were two stages of the pandemic, first and second. The phase 1, the wave 1 and wave 2. When the wave 1 happened, that's what helped me pause and think. I shifted my career journey from entertainment to e-commerce and sustainable products. So that was my pause and think kind of a phase, and that definitely impacted my entertainment business. That's when I realized my business venture itself is not sustainable. It's not the need for any consumer. It's like leisure, right? It's not the need of what you wear, what you eat.
Yeah.
So that's there with the first phase or first wave of COVID. During the second wave, Sustainkart was already launched, but we never saw a downtrend in sales. Consumers continued buying at the same pace. That's maybe because the kind of products they were buying from us are not shaking their intuitional game of should they buy this or not. But we didn't see a downtrend in business in the wave 2, maybe considering the kind of products we sell.
So what are your future plans for the company?
Shilpa and I are very focused to constantly hustle around launching more brands that are private label subsidiaries of the parent company. But the idea is to bring in multiple celebrity co-founders, launch more and more brands, and continue increasing our market share in the e-commerce sphere as such. Having said that, we will forever continue as an impact venture. We will not want to deviate and randomly launch a chemical product on the website just because we have a strong customer base. And we also want to bring, I shouldn't say bring, but uplift the broken art forms, weaves, arts from the rural India to the mainstream e-commerce marketplace and to the international markets. So we are trying to have conversations with artisans and weaver communities to understand what their demands and needs are, to be able to bring them to the mainstream e-commerce. We have a $500,000 budget, which is around 3.5 crores, set aside only to uplift Indian arts and weaves, right? We are trying to build resource centers in the rural India that will train and handhold weavers and artisans community to be able to pack and ship the products from their godowns or warehouses. That's there, that's in the pipeline, and it's also in the R&D stage. Once the R&D is successful, the next stage is to launch these resource centers. So uplifting artisans and weavers is of course our one of the goals and interests, and that's also of interest for our investors. That is why they allowed us to set aside a huge budget for artisan and weaver community.
So you have identified some locals also here in AP and Telangana?
Yeah, in fact, we are starting out from the clusters in AP Telangana, considering that we have a little hold and we understand the language of what they speak. As you expand, you need local speaking people who from our teams who can handhold the local speaking weaver and artisan community. In fact, we are also trying to do a similar collaboration with Isha Foundation, Coimbatore. They have this concept called Save the Weave. They adopt a cluster and nurture the cluster to be able to get into commercial business, eradicating or removing the middlemen, right?
Yeah.
So we are trying to also bridge some gap there with the help of Isha Save the Weave. But all these are in the R&D stage. So I'm not announcing any business model here, but they are all in the R&D stage, and we hope in the next 1 or 2 quarters, 3 to 6 months, we should be able to roll out the resource centers and contribute our little bit towards the artisans and the weaver community.
How much of an influence have you had on people around you in terms of sustainable living, sustainable practices?
I think honestly, I make a more impact, larger impact or a stronger impact about entrepreneurship overall on people around me than just sustainability, because I'm very young as a child for sustainability. I just started off my sustainable journey, trying to make changes, finding it difficult, undoing, doing. So I don't think I have too many factors to influence people around me about sustainability, but I think one standard rule in our office is nobody carries plastic bottles, nobody orders food from online delivery food platforms for more than once a week.
Okay.
Don't have to stop it, but reduce it. That's the possible notion we have for our teams in the office as well. And that's something even I try to follow. I don't pretty much order. My food comes from home every day. And these kind of changes that I'm trying to make are very fresh and young. They're very budding, if I must say. So I don't think I make a very strong impact as yet, but I definitely intend to. On the entrepreneurial perspective, if people see that I am making money or I'm growing because I'm in a sustainable business space, I am hoping and I'm sure that more young entrepreneurs will be intrigued to start their venture in the sustainability space. On record, I can say that if you don't have a sustainable business idea or a venture, you don't get investments from the venture capital market. So that's something that we completely believe in, and I completely believe in.
Okay, do you have any ground rules for people who actually wish to join your organization?
There are very basic ground rules. They should not have work time boundaries. They should be able to work on a Sunday, they should be able to work on a Saturday. If they want to take a break on a Wednesday, I don't mind. In fact, we as an organization don't mind. You being able to make that on and off button, like play around the on and off button of personal life and work, that smartness is what we demand from people who work here. And again, like I said, ordering food from outside is something that we limit to once a week, 4 times a month. We also don't let them carry any plastic products. So they should even understand what sustainability means. When our human resource manager does a level of interview, we definitely ensure that the employee to be understands what sustainability even means.
Yeah.
Right? We don't bring people who don't understand at least simple words like organic products, natural products, eco-friendly products. It doesn't work. We can handhold, but we rather spend time on handholding the customers or public by bringing people into the organization who already know what sustainability means. In fact, we get a lot of queries, in fact, mails to me or my team or Shilpa's personal team, that they believe in sustainability, they work for MNCs, they don't mind coming for half the package, but they want to work in this organization because they believe in the impact that the organization is intending to create. We have a lot of people like that, and we also hire people like that.
Okay.
One I could think of is this person used to work for, I think, a finance brokering company. I think 8 lakh package. As a startup, we might not be able to afford as much. So I think we pay much less in the organization to the same candidate right now. But the person made a conscious choice to let go of financial, income, I must say, to be able to contribute towards sustainability as a market. So we do have people like that. We do have passionate people who believe in sustainability. And now the biggest challenge for us is to be able to have people who understand sustainability in the clerical level when we hire people for our offline stores. Now we are going offline, and the plan is to have 100 stores in 1 year. 100 stores into 10 people staff. It's not easy to bring 1,000 people in the clerical caliber to understand. Like clerical caliber, I mean the warehousing, supply chain, inventory management, these kind of people to understand what is sustainability. So that is a challenge, but I hope we hire them 1 month in advance, spend 1 month on training. I don't mind. Those kind of expenses, I think, doesn't matter to me at all. Doesn't matter to even Shilpa or for us as an organization.
So what's the one asked question in the interview? Like, tell me about yourself, or where do you see yourself? These are the very common questions that people ask in MNCs. So there's something that should be very typical of your...
So I have this goal in life that I would like to share with you. I want to build a social enterprise that is into educational sector, where we enroll young kids in the schooling age, where they don't have to study 5-6 subjects. If you want to excel in entrepreneurship, you will have the best of training facilities to only study entrepreneurship, not physics, chemistry, maths, blah blah blah. Right? On record, I can say that I never understood mathematics in school, never liked the subject. I scored a 85 out of 90 or 100. That is because of by-hearting stuff. But I don't need mathematics right now. I have a team of 7 accountants in my office. I don't need mathematics, right? So, but I am interested in something else. So you don't have to study everything to be able to excel in life. If you are interested in physics, you don't need to learn history, dude. Like, you don't need to learn about who killed when and in which AC, BC, AD, BC years.
Exactly.
Right? Not necessary. Why is the education system asking people to remember stuff and use a part of their brain towards things that don't matter in your life? Right? That needs to change. Otherwise, productivity will go down the hill. The quality of work will go down the hill if you want to, do everything. See, now I can't do accounting work, I can't do legal work. There are things that you might not be able to do, and you can't do everything. You want to do strategy planning, you only do that. You have other people in the company to be able to do other stuff. Right? So that is my one goal. I want to set up an institute that will help young minds excel in one subject that they're interested in with the best of training from across the world. This is one goal. If that demands me to be a part of policy making, and if I have to contribute towards policy making, then I would like to also maybe hit the Supreme Court to file cases against the typical educational laws to change the way how education system here is, right?
That's nice. So other than India, what are the other countries which are flourishing in terms of sustainable economy?
The number one for sustainable livelihood, which means green buildings, this is Germany. Germany understands sustainable housing, sustainable livelihood like nobody else. They use solar, they don't use electricity, so these kind of stuff. When it comes to consumerables, the livelihood products like say beauty products, these kind of consumerables, FMCGs, Australia is number one. Number two, number three will be Europe and America for sure. And we definitely want to go into those nations, but well before that we want to have a huge number of Indians make use of what we are doing at Sustainkart.
That's nice. Thank you. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you so much for having me on my show.
Yeah, thank you.